This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is November 24th, 2025. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host Kevin Tucker, fresh off the Postgame Live following the Magic's loss to the Celtics, which we will talk about that. He's a little under the weather. This is like a flu game for Kevin, so give him a round of applause wherever you are. Shout out to Kevin. Postgame Live, traveling all weekend, busy as heck. Still had time to watch this game, do the Postgame Live, and then jump on the show with me, Kev. I know you're not feeling great, but how are you doing?
That's okay. I feel fine. I'm just, I'm okay. That's not true. I feel okay. I'm fine. But honestly, it's rare to have a loss lift your spirits, and this one kind of did. At least the fourth quarter. I know we're going to talk about this game, but as good of a loss as one can possibly ask for. So I'm doing all right, man. How about you?
It has lifted my spirits until Tuesday. And then when we get to the start of the second quarter on Tuesday, where like a normal, rotation, someone that we won't mention right now usually checks into the game. If it ain't Jace Richardson checking into the game at that checkpoint, my spirits will be once again crushed. And there's going to be a lot of people that are really mad. And if you know, if you watch this game, you know what I'm talking about. If not, we're going to break it all down here. Really quickly, we have some folks to give a very special shout out to. This episode is brought to you by Bobby Skinner, David T. Escoso Fresco, Magic legend Danny Shays, and Tiago Mello. These are some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons. They help financially support the show. They went to patreon.com/The Sixth Man Show and selected the tier that was best for them. So if you like what we do here, you're a fan of the content, head on over to patreon.com/The Sixth Man Show and join at one of our tiers. We have different levels with different levels of benefits. Again, just whatever works best for you, whatever you want to do. Every little bit helps. So a big shout out to all of our patrons. Whenever we have brand new patrons, we also give them a special shout out. So if you join between now and the next episode, you'll get like your own special shout out. So appreciate all of the patrons. I know we're going to talk a little bit about Thursday's game, Kev, but now that we've officially seen the City Edition jerseys and the floor, updated thoughts now, because I know we were kind of like, we're pretty sure we like them, but we want to see how they look in game.
Still great. Love them. Love the jerseys. The floor is great. The logo on the floor is also still good. But yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I look forward to seeing it in some more games. Really fast before I hear your thoughts on this, just so everybody knows, if you're watching this later, watching it or listening to it on the podcast platforms, we're doing this live, and so we do have some people in the chat. There's one particular chat message that made me internally giggle. This is fake Mike Real News, said Kevin pushed off. You said it was the flu game. He said Kevin pushed off. That's pretty funny.
I love that.
That's a good.
That's pretty good.
Michael Jordan reference. So I appreciate that. But anyway, shout out to the wild ones hanging out with us live here on a Sunday night. Appreciate that. But what do you think about the City Editions?
I thought they were awesome. A lot of the merch that has come out. I don't think you and I have really talked a lot about the merch, but the merch that has come out, I like this year, like the Magic and their merch team and the social media team, like legitimately on a generational run. Just can't miss. Everything they put out looks so good. And the jerseys I think are awesome. The floor with like the bright white like Magic logo in the center of the floor. I do wish they were just like pure white, the jerseys. They're like a little off-white, kind of a little bit of gray snuck in there, but it's fine. Like while they're playing, you don't really notice it. Yeah. The jerseys look great. I love every single Magic jersey. We haven't been able to say that in a billion years, and I just cannot be happier with overall the state of the Magic, which what a great segue. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But just like the jerseys, the rebrand, just everything, it's just really all coming together this season.
Yeah, 100%. It's really, really special. And the team's coming together, too. What a week.
Let's talk about it. The weekly state of the Magic. So if you're new to the show, every episode we go through and give you an update on the Magic. But on Sundays, we talk about the entire last week. So this week, the Magic went 3-1 with wins over the Warriors, Clippers, and Knicks, with a loss tonight to the Celtics. Kev, I think we might have picked this team to go 2-2 and said we'd be ecstatic if they went 3-1. So they did. Now sitting at 10-8 at the time of recording this pod, about 9 o'clock on Sunday night. The Magic are 10-8, ninth in the East, 5 games back of Detroit, 2.5 games back of Toronto, 2 games back of Cleveland, a game and a half back of Miami, 1 game back of Atlanta, a half game back of New York, tied with Chicago and Philadelphia, and half a game up on the Celtics. Coming into tonight, because we're starting this recording roughly like 40 minutes after the game concluded. NBA.com has not yet updated the advanced metrics, but coming into tonight, the Magic were 15th in the league in offensive rating with an offensive rating of 115.9, 8th in defensive rating with a defensive rating of 112.1, 13th in net rating with a positive net rating of 3.7. Usually, Kev, we like to wait until these numbers are updated before we start the pod, but because of the way that tonight's game played out and the fact that the starters really didn't play the majority of the fourth quarter in the game, wasn't super close, but then it kind of was. I don't really know if adding those numbers to the overall first 18 games in now is honestly really super helpful, because tonight it's just a weird snapshot that doesn't really apply to the other 17 games that we've seen, given all the injuries, given the way that this game went. So 15th in offensive rating, 18th in defensive rating through 17 games. The Magic are in a really good spot. Still think that the defensive rating can come up just a little bit. And if you look at the last 10 games, right, the Magic are right around the top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. The Magic's just playing really, really good basketball as of late, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about tonight's game, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, obviously we'll talk more about the game, but as far as adding it into the stats, it was a scheduled loss, then you add all the injuries. This was not the Orlando Magic tonight. We got, as I mentioned on the postgame live, into a pun that I did not intend. We got the spirit of Orlando tonight, but this wasn't the Orlando Magic. So I can appreciate the guys that gave it their all, but as far as the week and the numbers and stuff, I mean, the Magic played on Saturday, I think statistically still the best offense in the league, against the New York Knicks. If not top 3, they're up there. And then, you play the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday, and I know they played a horrendous Clippers team on Thursday, but to put up these kind of numbers this week, not just wins, but a convincing win in the end against the Knicks and a good win over the Warriors. It's just another indication that this team is on the right direction, and I know it's helping the stats as well.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick look at the injury report, and then we will go through the Clippers game. I know that was 4 days ago now as you're listening to this, so it's not super relevant, but we haven't recorded since then. So we're going to go through, talk about that game just a little bit because it did happen, right? Yeah, but taking a look at the injury report, Mo Wagner still out with the ACL. Paolo Banchero has now missed the last 6 games with a strained groin. Hopefully we're going to get him back for these NBA Cup, Emirates Cup games coming up here this week. Jalen Suggs was out Sunday at Boston. Second night of a back-to-back with the knee injury management. Josh Robbins of The Athletic, who covered the Magic for a long time, now covers multiple teams for The Athletic. He put out a tweet before the game that I'm basically paraphrasing, that he has been told that this probably should be Jalen's last back-to-back where he's held out for the second game, barring other health or injury issues. So we've seen the minutes increasing. We'll talk about that. But hopefully we should be nearing the end of this where Jalen's not able to play back-to-backs, but he did miss Sunday. And then we found out that Wendell, before the game, he was going to be out with the left ankle sprain. Goga Bitadze was named as the starter, and then quite literally 5 minutes before tip-off, Goga was ruled out as well with a sore left ankle. So your starting center in this game was Orlando Robinson. So we went from, okay, we're not going to have Paolo, we're not going to have Jalen. Earlier in the day, Wendell was questionable, and then, 40 minutes before the game, he's ruled out, and you're man, no Paolo, no Jalen, no Wendell, second night of a back-to-back. This is going to be really tough. And then with Goga out, it was man, like there were a lot of weird lineups in this game. Both teams played weird lineups. Boston started the game with Cadis, like their big man who started most of the year, and then he got hurt in like the first half. And like the rest of the game, there was like 4 guard, 1 wing lineups that both teams were playing. And we'll break that down specifically as we talk about the Celtics game. But the fact that Wendell was questionable and then Goga was like a last minute scratch, and now we have Monday off before the game in Tuesday, Kevin. I am assuming that Wendell and Goga are both going to play, and we should also see Jalen Suggs back. He was only held out tonight for precautionary reasons. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Paolo? Like, do we want to have that conversation right now? Do you expect to see him back this week?
I haven't been given any reason to think that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't heard any kind of rumblings about a comeback being imminent or what he's doing in practice that is getting him ready for it. And no, I haven't heard anything. And so, yeah, I would be very surprised if we see him this week.
I'm right there. He hasn't really, I mean, he's been doing more on-court work. They said he's been doing like some heavy weightlifting stuff, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
If your groin really was bothering you that much, I don't know if you would be doing like, is he doing squats and stuff? Really don't know. We didn't get a lot more information other than he's been lifting. He's been doing some on-court work, but he's not doing any type of contact stuff. I think Jamal Mosley did say it was either today or yesterday pregame that he has been doing more conditioning stuff, which is a good sign. But hopefully there's not going to be like a lengthy ramp up process like there was last year when he was coming back from the oblique. Really kind of, different injuries and different severities. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead quickly talk about Thursday's game against the Clippers. This game was not super close for that long. The Magic had a 12-point lead at the half, blew it open in the second half, led by as much as 30 in this game. The only reason that it was as close as it was at the half is because James Harden ends up, I think it was 31 points in 31 minutes. He was 8 of 16 from the floor, 5 of 11 from 3, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. So he's got 31. The rest of his team combined for 70. No Bradley Beal, he's out for the season. No Kawhi Leonard, he's been missing time, I believe, with an ankle injury. And then for the Magic, other than Paolo, Banchero, and Mo Wagner, were fully whole in this game. And in the second half, the Magic really just got going. Jalen Suggs was awesome in this game. Led all scorers with 23 points, 8 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 9 from behind the arc. The Magic were 18 of 34 from deep. They shot 52.9% from behind the arc and shot 47.9% from the floor. And that kind of left everybody wondering is like, hey, like, don't use up all your threes in this game as we have the Knicks coming to town on Saturday. The biggest takeaway for me in this game was one for the Magic. This was just like a professional win. Took care of a team that is really, really bad. You needed to win this game. You should have won this game like going away. Basically, if I forget who it was for the Clippers that scored like a last-second basket, you would have won this game by 30 and held them under 100 points. But, man, the Clippers are just a downtrodden, sad, bad basketball team right now.
Bad. We've seen two of the worst teams in the league, the Hornets and the Wizards, and I think the Clippers are a worse team than them. Whole team-wise, top to bottom. Obviously, they have the better player, and James Harden is the reason that this game wasn't a 50-point game, a 50-point blowout. But, I mean, you take away James Harden, and what is left of that team is a mess, a real mess. And so credit to the Magic for, as you said, especially in the second half, putting them away convincingly. Excuse me. And, yeah, I mean, what a game for Jalen as well. Jalen was really, really good in this game. That's the game he went 5 of 9 from 3. Yeah, he was crazy. Really, really special night. And, kind of the ignition for the game on Saturday. It was a good on-ramp, I think, for the next game.
Yeah, it was a good bounce back for Desmond Bane, 3 of 6 from deep. Definitely need that. Like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, that scored in double figures. You got tons of guys that were double digits in box plus minus in this game. Nobody was like really stellar again. 47.9% from the floor. You have a few guys, Goga, Jet, Howard, J.I., who all made every single one of their shots. Franz, 5 of 13 from the floor. Tristan, 7 of 17. Wendell, 3 of 11. Desmond, 5 of 15. But Jalen, again, 8 of 15. Anthony Black, 4 of 9 from the floor. And Jamal Cain and Jace Richardson also made all of their shots. It was just 2 and 1. But it was really just like the onslaught from deep for the Magic, and then just how bad the Clippers are. Also, like the next day after this game, I think it was the next day, we get the news that Chris Paul is like officially retiring after this season.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, I don't know how much Anthony Black had to do with that, but like Chris Paul was playing garbage time in this game.
Sad, man.
Which is crazy. Like even the most like washed like guys at the end of their career, like Chris Paul is like a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, I believe he was like a top 75 like NBA guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he's playing garbage time, I tweeted like 15-year-old me would never have believed you in a million years that Chris Paul was playing garbage time at the end of his career for the Clippers in a 30-point loss to the Orlando Magic. But,
yeah, that's rough.
I mean,
man.
He just quite obviously doesn't have it anymore, and it's time for him to hang it up. Wish our guy like Matty World Peace, for example, wish that I think he was at that game.
He was, yeah.
But I wish he would have known that, like, hey, this is the last time I'm probably ever going to see Chris Paul.
Well, he mentioned that he thought this was probably going to be it, so that's part of the reason why he was there. But the end is near for old.
Which was funny because like him signing with the Clippers, I thought everybody had just accepted it's just a foregone conclusion. Like we're saying the quiet part out loud. I thought this is already a thing, but then we get the official announcement, which whatever. I mean, Chris Paul when I was younger was one of my favorite players, and then he just gets more and more annoying with age, especially playing your team. Yeah. But good win, good professional win for the Magic, and then we go to what I think right now might be the win of the season. Magic 133-121, the win over the New York Knicks at home. The second time that you've played them, I think in like 9 or 10 days, something like that. Maybe it was less than that. But it was a fight. This game was pretty much close until the Magic, I think it was a 13-0 run in the fourth quarter to break this game open. And you saw the Knicks quit in the final minutes of this game. Like, I think it was Franz. I'm so many of these games now. I just did the Postgame Live, second night of a back-to-back. I did this yesterday, and now a lot of this is just kind of blending together. But Franz, 4 of 6 from 3 in this one, 37 points. Desmond Bane had 27. Jalen Suggs had 26. This game, back and forth isn't really the word, but it definitely felt like until that run that the Magic went on in that fourth quarter that it could be a game that the Magic just kind of let get away from them, even though so many guys were good. Honestly, the defense, like, it felt fine when you look at the fact that they put up 121 points. It doesn't feel that good. But, like, other than Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges had a really good game, like, shooting the ball. Like, they made a lot of tough shots in this game, especially those two guys. But outside of them, and Jordan Clarkson got hot for a little bit. But, like, they had to go. Landry Shamet gets hurt, like, 3 minutes into this game. I think it was a separated shoulder or dislocated shoulder. Knicks fans were crushed by that because I guess he had kind of the same issue last year and took a while to come back from that. But that, like, pretty early on, it felt like the Magic are going to have an opportunity to get a big win here at home again, especially when the way that you beat this team in Madison Square Garden the last time that you played them. There was a lot of Knicks fans in the building for this one. We got reports and we saw pictures and videos, and you did hear the crowd from time to time. Like early in the game, Jalen Brunson's at the line. You can hear MVP chants for like 4 or 5 seconds before Magic fans drowned them out. A lot of credit to the Magic fans and the faithful in Kia Center for being able to do that. But yeah, when you're big three in this game for Franz Wagner, Desmond Bane, and Jalen Suggs combined for like 90 points, and you shoot 39% from three, 55% from the floor, and you make 26 to 30 free throws, and you only turn the ball over 13 times, I would be pretty surprised if the Magic put up similar numbers to that in a game this year and lose. Those are all like offensive numbers that are a recipe for this team to get a win, and it was a massive one.
Oh, and I also think one of my favorite aspects of this game was the fact that your stars stepped up. Like this was a game where, and some nights, especially the Magic, frequently we have nights where it's just a very balanced, your favorite phrase, by committee type of game. This was not. This was your best players that you have available. Obviously, no Paolo, but the players that you have available stepped up big against a big opponent. Franz with a 37, very efficient 37, 68% from the field, 66% from three, with some big, timely threes as well. You mentioned Desmond was great, 27. Jalen was 26, and he was just electric. I mean, that moment with the loose ball and Josh Hart and the hand on the throw. And first was the three that came before that. Then that scramble for the ball, and then Jalen kind of going to the stands and like chest bumping the random fan, and just like, what a moment. That was electric. But yeah, that for me is what stood out the most. Like, obviously everyone played a part. You mentioned Anthony Black. Everyone played a part in some way. But when it came time for this team to get buckets, it was the big boys. It was the stars that we have available that went out there and did it. And so that's what made it, I think, a little extra special to me.
And speaking of Franz, in the last, coming into tonight, the last 5 games without Paolo, 25.8 points per game, shooting 46% from the floor, 35.7% from deep, 84.8% at the free throw line, adding 6.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and a stock per game. He's right back to that level that he was at, last November, early December when Paolo went out, just kind of lifting this team up. We've talked a little bit about Desmond. Anthony Black, I'll go back to some of the late night tweets that I had after that game. I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning just poring over Magic stats, trying to find positive propaganda for our guys. This is before tonight's game, but last 10 games for Desmond Bane, 19.4 points, 4.8 rebounds, 5.1 assists, shooting 44.3% from the floor, 38% from three on 5.5 attempts per game. And Anthony Black's last 4 games. So this is the Houston game, the Clippers game, the Houston game, the Golden State game, the Clippers game, and the Knicks game. 15.5 points per game, 3 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists, 3 stocks a game, shooting 52.3% from the floor. And I know we've talked about this the last couple of post-game lives, but just the aggressiveness and decisiveness that he's been playing with, it really feels like he's turned a corner. He had one stretch, I want to say last year, where his scoring outputs were a little bit better over one 4-game stretch. But the 3-point shooting in those games, he was 3 of 6, 2 for 4 in some of those games. He shot the ball okay tonight, made a couple of threes early. But he's mostly been doing what he's been doing lately without the threes falling. And it's just been, again, the way that he's been attacking, the way that he's been picking his spots, where he's looked way more confident and just making better decisions. And so to me, this last, week or so of Anthony Black is the best Anthony Black that we've seen. And I really hope it continues because it'll be huge for this team. He wasn't great necessarily tonight, but with so many guys out, the rotations being much different than they normally are, it's really hard to take. You mentioned this on the post-game live, but apart from some of the agenda stuff, which we'll get into, it's hard to take big sweeping insights away from that Celtics game.
Going back to this Knicks game, I have a question for you. Do you think the Wendell screen on Landry Shamet where he got hurt, was that dirty? Was that a dirty play?
No, it quite literally looked like Landry Shamet launched himself into Wendell trying to blow up. Wendell leans a little bit, but guys do that on literally every single screen set in an NBA game. Yeah. Your job when you're setting a screen, especially that high, is to make contact with the defender. You know, if you're setting a screen at like the top of the key, like you might slip it a second early and, you know, roll to the basket. But when you're that far from the basket, your job is to make contact with the defender and get a piece of him. By no means whatsoever was that a dirty play. And if you go back and watch it, Shamet quite literally launches his shoulder first into Wendell's chest. And it was a terrible play. I feel awful that he got hurt. Hopefully he's able to come back as soon as possible. But no, like, I have a lot of love for a lot of Nets fans. Nets, why do I keep doing that? Knicks fans, especially our boy Andrew Claudio and the guys over at Knicks Film School. But just like there are, like, not a lot, but there are some Magic fans out there on social media who are like faceless trolls that just talk trash and say dumb stuff on the internet. You're going to find that in every fan base. And we're seeing a lot of the faceless Knicks fans on social media call Wendell dirty and say they want so-and-so to break their back or tear their Achilles, just, you know, ridiculous stuff.
Another thing that I don't want to get lost in this, long way to go, right? I mean, we're sitting here, end of November, long way to go till April. But the Magic only play the Knicks 3 times this season. And they're 2-0. So if it comes down to it, end of the season, if you're tied with the Knicks, the Magic now own that tiebreaker. So this was a big, big result.
Massive.
So you've beaten the Knicks at MSG. You've beaten them at home. And you're up 2-0 on what's going to be a 3-game series this year. Now, you and I have talked. I hate the fact this is the second year in a row we're going to play the Knicks all before the turn of the calendar year. We did it last year. We played all of our matchups with the Knicks in 2024. So we never played the Knicks healthy last year. And turn around to this year, same thing. You know, the first matchup, you lose Paolo in the first half. You don't have Mo. Now, obviously, on Saturday, we were without Paolo and without Mo. So we're not going to see him healthy again. Maybe this season. Obviously, definitely not. I don't think Mo's going to be back the next time we play them. But yeah, that's just kind of lame. I hate that. But regardless, it doesn't matter. As far as the head-to-head goes, Magic win the series, and so that's a really big deal.
So I want to pause like right here before we start talking about the Celtics game, because for a number of reasons, which I know we'll talk about and we've already kind of mentioned here on the pod, but that game should kind of like, you really should just remove that game from like all of what you understand about this team from this year because of the injuries, because of the lineups, the second night of a back-to-back, the third game in 4 nights. I don't want to call it like variant shooting for the Celtics because the defense wasn't great for the Magic, but they just were so unbelievably hot shooting the basketball. Sometimes it's just not your night. So I want to pause like after this Knicks game and just talk about the way that the Magic have been playing. You and I talked on the last pod about how, you know, through the first 5-6 games or whatever, there was, I don't want to say necessarily like doom and gloom, but we were angry about the way that this team had been playing basketball and not playing the Magic way, not playing up to the standard, not defending, the body language not being great, guys not necessarily like saying the best things in some, you know, interviews and such. And we still like stand on all of that because it was warranted. This team just did not look good. But in the like 12 games up to this point since then, the Magic believe we're 9-3 over those 12 games. This was their 3rd win in a row. Over those like 10 games, top, I think 12 or 13 in offensive rating, top 5, I think as high as 3 in defensive rating in that stretch. Desmond Bane's shooting has come around. Anthony Black seems to have taken a step forward. We saw all of the like positive lineup numbers with Paolo, with Jalen, Dell, Franz, and Desmond in that starting lineup, just how dominant they had been. Franz playing really well. Shooting has definitely been up and down this season, but he's just kind of been streaky, I guess is probably the best way to put it this year. Like he's either not making anything or he's making everything in these games. But like came away from that win on Saturday over the Knicks, like the vibes were the highest at any point this season, for me at least, that they've been. And it just feels like the Magic are back. And when we do get Jalen off of this like back-to-back or minutes restriction, whatever, when you get Paolo back, when you get Mo Wagner back and you get him reintegrated, like this team should be extremely good. They should be like contender level basketball at some point this season. I don't know how quickly everything's going to come together once everybody's back. But like Magic fans should be fully exhaling, forgetting about the rough start to the season, and believing that the team we've been getting these last 2-3 weeks is the team that we expected to get, and we can believe that they're legit.
And you talk about, I think it was 9-3 or something like that in the last 12. Think through those 3 losses. The most recent one was against the Rockets in overtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a game that, you're without Paolo, you're without Jay. I think you're without Jay. Yeah, you're without Jalen in that game, and you are basically a miraculous bucket at the end. Not miraculous. It was a nice play. You're one bucket at the end of the game away from winning that game, right?
And you're few free throws away from winning that game.
Right. Either take your pick, either or. And the other loss that sticks out to me in that was the second game of the weekend, that weekend in Orlando against the Celtics, the Sunday game, where you're like a Jaylen Brown missed 3 away from,
or Jordan freaking Walsh.
Or Jordan Walsh. Yeah, exactly. That was the last one. You're right. So literally just take your pick. 1, maybe 2 possessions go a different way in either of those games, and you're talking about an 11-1 stretch instead of 9-3, which 9-3 is still great. But it's been full of these performances that we've come to know and love with Jamal Mosley Orlando Magic teams, in that these principles that guide this team and lead them in how they play will keep them in 95% of NBA games. It will give them a chance. And so even though against the Celtics you're playing the same team twice in a row over a weekend, where they always say it's one of the hardest things to do in the NBA is beat a team twice in a weekend or twice in a series or whatever, to Houston where you're on the road, you're without Jalen and Paolo, it kept them in both those games. And so, yeah, that's what we were missing early in the season. Like just the optics, right? Like of how this team looks, of how this team plays, the purpose with which they play. All of that's been found. And so here we are. Magic basketball is definitely back. And I do think the vibes are super, super high.
And that's exactly what I said after Saturday's game, is like, send out the word, we're back. Like on the we're back meter, we're back.
We're back. Start spreading the news.
We're back.
Start spreading the news. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jonathan, I think I'd like to take a moment here and tell our friends about our amazing folks over at Posick Group. Ken Posick and his team, our amazing group of real estate professionals in Central Florida, and they are your home team on and off the court, your Orlando real estate resource of choice, not just for us here at the Six Man Show, but for the Orlando Magic as well, because yes, the Posick Group is the official real estate partner of the Orlando Magic this season, and it's easy to see why. With over 1,700 5-star reviews, they are the best in the business, and they are in the top 1% of sales in the United States. So if you need to sell a home, if you need to buy a home in Central Florida, Posick Group is the way to go. You can visit their website at pozek.com. That's pozick.com to get more information. Get in contact with one of the fine folks over there with Ken's team. Again, they're the best of the best. They know this market as well as anyone, and they will help you, again, either buy or sell your home, or maybe it's someone you know. Maybe it's a family member, a friend, a coworker. If you know someone that's looking to buy or sell a home, refer them to the Posick Group. Again, you can go to pozek.com, pozek.com, to reach out to them and get that process started. So big shout out to Ken and for the Posick Group for sponsoring the show.
And this episode is also brought to you by everybody's favorite segment, the Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week. And this week's Jam of the Week, we're going to go back to Thursday's game over the Los Angeles Clippers. We're going to go to the 4:27 mark in the third quarter. The Magic lead 81-66. James Harden's bringing the ball up the right side. He sees a streaking Chris Dunn going down the left side of the lane. He tries to feed the pocket pass, the bounce pass. Jalen Suggs dives on the floor, swipes it away, slides and spins all over the parquet of the Kia Center. Goes ahead, picks up that ball, starts dribbling it, passes ahead to Tristan da Silva. Tristan da Silva passes it to Jalen Suggs, who's going down the middle of the lane, who sees Goga Batadze coming in baseline from the left side, lobs it up. He grabs it with two hands, throws it down, gives the Magic a 17-point lead with 4:17 to go in the third quarter. Genuinely one of my favorite plays of the season. Wasn't the craziest dunk, but just really encapsulates Jalen Suggs, and we love us some Jalen Suggs over here at the Six Man Show. We also love Jam Hot Chicken, who's bringing Jam's culture and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park and now Winter Garden as well. Jam is a Nashville and LA inspired hot chicken shack, locally owned and operated in Winter Park, Florida, and again now in Winter Garden. If you're in Winter Garden, you can find them at the Crooked Can Plant Street Market. And if you're in Winter Park, you can find them at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13 in Hannibal Square. Be sure to follow them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media. And whether you're ordering online or you're there in person, when you go to check out, use code SIXTHMAN, SIXTHMAN, for 10% off your meal. So if you're ordering online, when you go to check out, there's like a little promo code area. If you're in person, when you get to the register, give them your order and let them know, hey, I have this code SIXTHMAN, and they'll give you 10% off. Jam Hot Chicken recently named to the top 50 Yelp restaurants in Orlando. So a big shout out to Jam Hot Chicken. When you stop by, let them know that the guys over at the Six Man Show sent you. Now, Kev, let's go ahead and talk about this game from Sunday night against the Boston Celtics, where, if I remember correctly, the Magic were down, was it 23 or was it 25
26.
At the half?
Oh, sorry, at the half. I'm sorry. Carry on. My bad.
Yeah, at the half. I'm going back to find that. Down 23 at the half. The Magic trailed after one, but then were outscored 30-48 in the second quarter. Again, down 23 at the half. They definitely had their work cut out for them. We're going to need a miracle in this one, and they almost got one. They outscored Boston 32-30 in the third, so they were down 21 going into the fourth quarter. And then with 8 minutes and change, let's see, I'll find the exact mark here. With 8:16 to go, the Magic were down 101-121 right after a Derek White layup. Jamal Mosley calls timeout, subs out Desmond Bane, subs in Jace Richardson, and we had a lineup of Tyus Jones, Jace Richardson, Jamal Cain, Noah Penda, and Jet Howard. So as we talked about earlier in the show, no Paolo, no Jalen, no Wendell, and then no Goga. So your big men depleted in this one. Jonathan Isaac plays, I believe, less than 5 minutes, was a -9 in those 5 minutes. Didn't look great. So although it was kind of a head scratcher of like, hey, you don't really have any bigs in this one. When Neemias Queta goes out the first few minutes of this game with the ankle injury, it kind of allowed both teams to play these weird like 5-guard or like 4-guard in one wing lineups. We saw a lot of that from both teams in this one. So it kind of worked. There's a lot of Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Anthony Simons, Sam Hauser, and Jaylen Brown, like all the way to the end of this game. But again, down 20. And then over the course of the next like 7-ish minutes, the Magic went on a 26-12. I hope my math is mathing there. To cut the lead, it was 127-133 with 1:11 to go off of 2 Jet Howard free throws. I know we're really going to talk about the entire fourth quarter as a whole. But then like they're just going band for band in this one. Jet Howard would have hit a 3. Jaylen Brown would hit a 3. Jace Richardson would hit a 3. Jaylen Brown again would hit a 3. And if it weren't for those like late corner threes from Jaylen Brown, the Magic might have found a way to come all the way back in this game. And Kev, I want to talk about the entire fourth quarter, but I want to talk about the final few minutes of this because I've seen a lot of people, kind of bring it up and talk about like, hey, like you were down, I think it was 11 points with 6 minutes to go. Yeah. Could have like brought some of the starters in to make another push at this game. If we're all being completely honest, at that 8:16 minute mark, Jamal Mosley waves the white flag, puts the bench unit in, and to their credit, they fought, got this to a 6-point lead. And yes, if this was like a game 7 or like a game that you were going all out for trying to win, I do think that you probably sub in like Franz and Desmond for, let's say, like Tyus and Jamal Cain. But again, it's the second night of a back-to-back. This team had already accepted the loss with 8 minutes to go, and those guys were playing so well. Jamal Mosley, this isn't completely foreign. Like, we have seen Jamal Mosley in, other games over the years where like an unlikely lineup will go on a run and he'll just kind of let them play it out. Not only was this team making buckets, but they were getting stops until those final minutes. Like, when they started to get it really close, Boston responded a little bit, hit a couple of threes to kind of keep the Magic at arm's length. Didn't allow them to get it any closer than 6. But I saw that quite a bit. And although would I have liked to see that, especially down 6 with, like a minute and 11 seconds to go? I think it was, a minute, 11 seconds to go. If it was me and we're going all out for this win, like I would have liked to, probably would have brought back Franz and Dez. I know, to your credit, Kev, what you were saying in the postgame live, those guys just like quite honestly didn't have it.
Yeah.
But at this point, they had been sitting for a pretty good stretch. And sometimes like guys just get a second win and they find it, right? Like we've seen, Paolo, what was it, against Detroit a couple years ago when he was sick. Didn't have a great game, still ended up hitting the game winner in that game. So like those kind of things do happen, but like Jamal Mosley has an 82 game season to worry about. The health of these guys. You've won 3 in a row. It's the first game of a 3 or 4 game road trip that we're in the middle of right now. And I'm not going to get super upset at Jamal Mosley for not going all out at the end of this game, which still would have been unlikely. You're down 6 with a minute 11 to go. Maybe you still needed some things to bounce your way in a literal miracle. We got pretty close to a miracle. Like last year against Boston, last year against Miami, those were literal miracles. We got pretty close to getting another one of those. But like for people that are trying to kill Jamal Mosley, over this, game and the way that he handled this at the end, I'm just not getting all that upset about it. Really not.
No, especially I feel like they earned it. They earned the right to stay on the floor. Like you go on a run like that, you bring the team back. You earn it to me. You earn it. The other thing, Jonathan, how did you feel when this Magic team made the run and they got it to within 6 or even if you just say 11 with 6 minutes left or whatever it was? How did you feel looking across there and seeing that these aren't Celtic scrubs? These are of what they have. I know they've got some injuries, but of the players available, these are the best players available on the Boston Celtics roster.
Yeah. That
they were forced to go out there and play the important minutes of the fourth quarter because of what the Magic's third and fourth stringers were doing to them. Like, that to me is the story of the night. Like the fact that the Celtics had to play their best players to prevent an historic collapse at the hands of backups from the Orlando Magic. To me, that was just the wildest part.
So these are the minutes played for the Celtics in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard played 6:48. Anthony Simons played 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Josh Minott played 2 minutes. Baylor Shireman played 2 minutes. Jaylen Brown played 10 minutes.
Wow.
Jordan Walsh played 10 minutes.
Wow.
Sam Hauser played 12 minutes. Derek White played 12 minutes.
Oh, you love
So not
to see
only
that.
did they feel the need to play these guys like down the stretch, they felt the need to play these guys the entire quarter.
That's amazing.
To try to like sneak out a win. For the Magic, Jet played 12 minutes. Tyus played 12 minutes. Jace played 11 minutes. Noah Penda played 12 minutes. Jamal Cain played 9 minutes, 11 seconds. Desmond Bane played 3 minutes, 44 seconds.
Wow.
So
amazing.
This was the difference in the game. Both teams shoot 55.6% in that fourth quarter. Yeah. That's why the Celtics were able to hang on and get a win. They shot 10 of 18. The Magic shot 15 of 27, 6 of 11 from deep. They had 6 offensive rebounds. They out-rebounded the Celtics 12-6 in that final quarter. They only turned the ball over once. They forced the Celtics into 2 turnovers. So not only, were they getting stops, but if they didn't make a basket, they were also getting offensive rebounds. Jet Howard had 2 offensive rebounds. Noah had 2 offensive rebounds. Desmond had an offensive rebound. And Jamal Cain also had an offensive rebound in that fourth quarter. This is the story of the entire night. If you're going to listen to anything that we talk about from this game, it's the fact that Noah Penda, He didn't score in the fourth, but had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 of them being offensive boards, was a plus 12 in 12 minutes. Jace Richardson had 14 points, was 5 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 4 from deep, 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, and an assist. And Jet freaking Howard had 22 points in the fourth quarter, 8 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 5 from deep, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, and an assist. Those 3 young guys in Jet Howard, Jace Richardson, and Noah Penda, that was one of the most fun quarters of basketball that I can remember that didn't involve like Paolo and Franz.
Right. Or especially
like over the last 4 or 5 years, it was just, it didn't feel real. Like you're down 20, then you're down 6, you're down 11, then you're down 6. I'm like, if this happens,
yeah,
it'll be one of the most unlikely, craziest things I've ever seen happen.
First off, you mentioned, one of the most fun quarters without those guys. This is probably the most fun fourth quarter in a loss in, I don't know when. I don't remember the last time I enjoyed a fourth quarter in a losing effort. You mentioned we were really close to something insane, like a miracle. We got one. If I'm being honest,
right.
We got one. We didn't get the big one,
right.
But we did get a really, really special time, borderline miraculous.
We got a Thanksgiving miracle.
We did. It
wasn't quite a Christmas miracle, but it was a Thanksgiving miracle.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And I say that somewhat jokingly, but the fact that this is what we have been waiting for. Like, let these guys have opportunities, like legitimate opportunities. Unfortunately, they got the opportunity tonight because the team was just not up for it tonight. And I don't mean that as a negative, right? This was a epitome of a scheduled loss, right? Plus the injuries. So it's unfortunate that it came in these circumstances, but they were given an opportunity, and my goodness, they took advantage. They took that opportunity and really, really, obviously the most important thing in the moment is the game, right? They made it a game, so credit to them, but they also initiated some conversations now for, at least they should have, for the coaching
Furthered.
staff.
Not initiated.
Well, but I'm saying, like, if those conversations hadn't been happening before, you have to have them now. But again, for me, like, in the past with both of those guys, especially Jet Howard, this is season 3 for him, those guys got opportunities in garbage time against fellow second, third, fourth stringers. That's the difference for me tonight. They didn't play backups. They played the Celtics' best players in that fourth quarter and still went out and did that. And so that's what makes tonight a little bit different.
And won the quarter by 12.
Yeah. And honestly,
put up 40.
Right, and honestly, like, leading up, once they got to that 6-point deficit, like, and then it fell apart in the last minute. If you just take the first 11 minutes of this game, what did they end up losing by? 9? So yeah, they probably outscored them by 15 or 16 in the first 11 minutes. So I don't know, man. It was really, really special, and I know we are. In theory, we're supposed to be past like moral victories and stuff because I do think we're a very good team with very high expectations. This is special circumstances, and to me, it was like a moral victory, that fourth quarter for me.
This wasn't us at our like healthiest, playing our best, down 20 early in the fourth, and you come back and you lose. I mean, what was the final in this? 120. So you lose by 9. Like, if we would have been healthy and playing like our starters like full minutes, not the second night of back-to-back 3 games in 4 nights, all that kind of stuff, no way in the world is this a moral victory for the Magic. But the fact that it basically came at the hands of Jet, Noah, and Jace playing so well, it is a moral victory. And again, I really don't want to make this a Tyus thing. So I'm not going to make this a Tyus segment, but it is directly correlated. Jace is so much better than Tyus Jones right now. Like, it's not even close. Yeah. Defensively, like offensively, the things that he's able to do. People want to talk about like the passing of Tyus Jones. Like, Jace made a pass like from across the court to the corner, like on an absolute laser beam. Like Jace is a capable passer. I do think with time, he can be just as good as an organizer as Tyus Jones is. Jace Richardson right now, 14 points in this game. Tyus Jones has 30 points, I believe, on the season.
14 points just in the fourth quarter. He had 18 points.
I'm sorry. Game. Just in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So almost half of Tyus's entire offensive, like individual offensive output,
right?
He put that up in 12 minutes in this game.
Wow.
And in the nature in which he did it, like getting into the paint,
right,
finishing through contact, getting into the lane, turning around, knocking down turnarounds, knocking down pull-ups, knocking down 3 after 3 after 3. He was 3 of 4 from deep in the fourth quarter. Like there was a stretch, I think he had 11 straight points for the Magic in the fourth quarter at one point. Like I told Carmen, I said like if Tyus is still playing over Jace Richardson in this next game, I will just I'll be besides myself. I just don't see how you put this kid back to the bench after the way he played in this game.
Yeah.
It's so clear that he's better than Tyus. And I don't see any way that he doesn't bring more to this team on a night in and night out basis.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. Like at some point, if this is still happening, at some point, I personally maybe that's just the conspiracy theorist in me, but I'm like, there has to be something else going on here. It's the only explanation, right? Like something with the player's agent or some verbal agreement they came to when he signed here that he was going to play. I don't know. I don't know how any of that works, but at some point, you can't argue with stats. You can't argue with the optics. There's no more arguments left, especially after tonight. There's no more arguments left, and so I'd like to think that will change on Tuesday, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Tyus has 31 on the season, so
good correction.
18 points from Jace tonight. He came into this game with 6, so he's at 24 on the season, and Tyus is at 31 points on the season, and Noah Penda as well. Like the Jonathan Isaac conversation is a tough one because like he has games where he's awesome, comes in and has 9 points in 3 minutes and is awesome defensively, and then he has games like he had tonight where he's just completely invisible in 5 minutes on both ends of the floor, like turning the ball over. Like not catching easy passes that are hitting him in the hands. He's not knocking down threes this year. Like I do feel like it's tough. And Noah had a good game, was 2 of 2 from deep, had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block. I don't know if Noah is like ready to step into that role and do it with a lot of consistency. But if he can give you anywhere near what he gave you tonight on a consistent basis, it's time to have more difficult conversations. I think it's a little bit different with the Jace like Tyus conversation because like Jonathan, it feels like has been good like every other game or like every third game maybe. Where Tyus, it feels like has had like one good game out of 18 to this point. So to me, those are a little bit different conversations, but even if you are going to play Jace, like, moving forward in those minutes, he's not going to be perfect. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have plenty of like moments where he looks like a rookie. But I just think like him at his best right now and Tyus at his best, Tyus just raises the ceiling of this team so much. And people have been talking.
I'm going to have to stop you. You need to say it again because you said Tyus raises the ceiling of this team so much. So I just can't let that one go. I can't let that one go.
I'm sorry that
Jace,
I'm dumb and I can't speak.
No,
Jace,
you're not dumb.
Yes, I am. Jace raises the ceiling of this team so much. And like part of the issue with this team so far to start the season in games that they've struggled has been the bench unit. Yeah. And people have mentioned that like, yes, we love the fact that we have Desmond Bane, but like every 2 or 3 games where Cole Anthony would have a really good game and give you like scoring off the bench. We're missing that right now. Like Anthony Black's been a little bit better in that, but he's had the spot start with Jalen, missing some time and missing like second nights of back-to-backs. We're still missing Mo Wagner, obviously. Tristan Da Silva has been really good, but the Magic's like starting lineup fully healthy has been so dominant, and then like they come out of the game and the bench, doesn't play all that well. So I just like I genuinely if Jace doesn't play, I'm completely clueless as to what's happening. To me, it's never been more obvious. And Jet probably needs more minutes as well.
That's what I was going to say. There's one more piece of the puzzle tonight that we need to talk about. Mr. Jet Howard. Because did what happened tonight with Jet, does that change your view of him at all? Or
some of us have always known.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking. Are you just like, "Oh yeah, I've always," cuz here's the thing for me. Here's the thing for me with Jet. I've always known that was possible. But to me, he is like many NBA players. This is not a knock. There are lots of guys that are perennial backups or third stringers because they seem to only be able to do this every once in a while, right? Yeah. And Jet Howard obviously has the skills to do that, the tools to do that. But the problem is just the consistency. Like it takes a guy like Jet, he has to get hot to have an impact in a game. I think, Cole Anthony was like that in some ways. Like Cole, I think, was able to impact the game in other ways, but to really impact the game, he had to go on a hot streak. I think he's just one example of that. And so for me, I didn't learn anything new about Jet Howard tonight. I thought this was in there, but the key for me is, can Jet Howard, not that he needs to have 30 the next time he plays, but can Jet Howard come out there and be productive offensively almost every time that he sees the floor? The big question for me is, does this change, or does it have an impact on the rotation? Because right now, Jet hasn't played this season unless, typically, not always, but typically, unless it's one of these nights where, Jalen's out, or since Paolo's been out, he's played a few times. Has this bumped him up the pecking order of the depth chart? Probably not. But again, I think it at least gets the coaching staff's attention maybe a little more.
So these are Jets numbers, at least like maybe, I don't know if NBA.com has updated with tonight's game just yet, but 10.4 minutes per game, 5.5 points, shooting 44.8% from the floor. So like me, if you're a guard, especially like a microwave, kind of guy, like I want you to be like 45%. Like I'm not expecting those guys who like are, smaller, don't get to the free throw line a ton, take a lot of jump shots. I don't expect those guys to be like around 50%. If you are, like that's usually like an indicator that you need like a bigger role. But like 44.8%, so right around that 45%, and he's shooting 41% from three. He's made all of his free throws on the season, and like defensively he does still have, I don't even want to call them like lapses. He'll make like defensive mistakes where like his technique will be a little bit off. All of a sudden he's out of position and then he like fouls the guy. We're not getting the like Jets just stuck watching the ball and his man cuts behind him for an open layup. Like we're not getting that stuff anymore, at least not as regularly as we were with Jet. Like that happens to everybody occasionally, but he's been good enough on that end, and the dude just competes when he's on the floor. Again, I'm not being like, oh, I knew this all along with Jet Howard, because there have been times where I'm like, hey, I might just be out on Jet Howard. I always held on to a little bit of my Jet Howard stock, and that's up like 100x right now because you buy it so low and when it has a night like tonight. But what I've always said about Jet Howard is like the best version of him is something that the Magic just like don't really have. Now, they might have it now in a few guys like in Jet Howard and in Jace Richardson, and in Desmond Bane, but those other two guys are guys that we didn't have on this team before this year. But like his ability to like take you off the bounce, play make, I think he's always been an underrated passer. I feel like his offensive feel has been underrated, but also the ability to just like stop on a dime, pull back, raise up and knock down shots, whether it be in the mid range, whether it be from deep. We also saw him get to the rim a little bit tonight as well. Like, he just brings an offensive element that is really valuable. And if we're starting to have difficult conversations, Jonathan Isaac right now, as much as I love that guy, and I really truly do, he's not playing up to his contract currently. So if the Magic are able to, if they decide to move on from Jonathan Isaac, I would not be mad if the Magic are able to somehow, some way, find a way to bring Jet Howard back after last year. I don't know, at least not right now. We're not in the territory of like you're regretting not picking up his option. But I think there's a non-zero chance that we get to that point this year now where it's like, okay, maybe we should have just picked up that option. But he is starting to look like a guy that might, because of, you know, the circumstances of where the team is at, where he never really gets the full opportunity that maybe he deserves, at least at this point. The last couple of seasons, you definitely can argue that he just wasn't ready, but he looks ready now for an increased opportunity. He might just be a guy that says, hey, I could make the same, if not more money elsewhere, getting a larger role. And then all of a sudden in a couple of seasons from now, we're like, it's not something you're going to lose sleep over, but it's like, man, would that guy be nice to still have on our team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's possible. For me, like I said, this doesn't change the needle for me, and nothing this season really has so far. Like, he's been good, but that's kind of what I expect from a 13 overall pick. I think it was 13 back a couple years ago, right? Like, nothing's really moved the needle for me, but again, all it takes.
But you're like, your kind of baseline for your Jet expectations never changed though. Because I gave up on like he was the 13th pick. Like, I gave up on that like a year and a half ago.
Not really. I mean, for
No?
me,
Okay.
I've always had an expectation of what I think Jet should be, and it's just never lived up to that. And so while I obviously give credit for how he does look better this season, like I don't want to get that mixed up. Like, he definitely looks better this season. He's still not to the point where I know you're not saying you're thinking about this. You're saying the Magic could end up borderline regretting not picking up that option. To me, that's just almost fairy tale level. And I'm not saying you think that again, but like, to me, that just I need to see like 20 good performances before I'm even thinking that way for me. Because like right now, what I've seen from Jet Howard, it's similar to the Cole Anthony stuff. What Jet Howard can do so far, what I've seen, there are literally dozens of guys in the NBA that can do what we've seen from Jet Howard. Maybe, I mean, when I say dozens, I mean like probably 3 or 4 dozen dudes in the league that are second, third, fourth string guys that can do exactly what Jet Howard has done so far in his career. And so that's where I'm just still not there. And again, tonight was great. I don't want this to be like bashing Jet. Like, this was obviously the best Jet game. It was fun. I loved the fact that he didn't have just a good game because he took threes. Like you said, him getting to the rim, him getting to the foul line 3 times tonight. I think those are his first free throws of the season, I think they said on the broadcast. Like, the whole deal. I loved it all. I just need to see more of it to where 100%. I can start having those conversations.
And I'm not in any. I know you're not saying that I am, but in no way am I saying, oh, just because of this game now. Like, the thing that I think he has the potential, because I do agree with you, he has not shown enough to be like, oh no, this is not a Cole Anthony situation. It absolutely could. But I think there are a couple of things that lend themselves to him like having more advantages than Cole Anthony, like mainly the size, and he's just flat out a way better shooter than Cole Anthony ever was. So those are the things for me, is like, if he is able to play with some level of consistency, like if Jet Howard can average like 9 points a game for the Magic or 8 points a game for the Magic, play solid defense, just be like a good like connecting piece offensively, which I really truly do believe that he is, and he shoots 40% from 3, at that point it's like, man, for a team that is so desperate for shooting, is that the kind of guy that we just want to like move off of? I don't ever think he's going to be able to get the minutes to be much more than that. I also just think like Tristan da Silva, like as it is right now, is just way more reliable and a better basketball player and is able to do more. But like, had Tristan not stepped up into that role, maybe Jet Howard would have had an opportunity to do so this year. But for a lot of reasons. A lot of that are, Jet Howard just not playing well when he's got minutes in the past. So anyways, a lot of credit to Jet Howard. All of that being said, when the Magic were down 6 and he's like, it's Jet Howard time, I was like, I get it because you're balling the freak out right now.
Right.
But it was like the ball was moving around. It was finding the right guys. Jace was also having like his time in the sun. It was just like the last couple of minutes, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go and win this game. And that's precisely the moment we lost this game.
Yeah, especially the last couple possessions. Yeah, he did. Yeah. When he started that, I think he had 1 or 2 possessions where he actually scored or got to the foul line.
Right.
But then it was possession like 3, 4, and 5 where it was like, I think he just ran out of gas. I mean, you saw the dude was panting, like, I mean, as hard as he could towards the end of the game there, which I don't blame him. Again, when's the last time he played 29 minutes of basketball? I mean, it's been a long time. So anyway, it was really fun. And look, it has to start somewhere. Maybe it's tonight.
So I'm going to go back to the 2:23 mark in the fourth. Magic are down 121-133. Jet Howard miss layup. Jet Howard tip layup. The next possession, Jet Howard running layup. The next possession, Jet Howard 8-foot driving floating shot, blocked. The next series, Jet Howard free throws. The next series, missed Jet Howard 25-foot step back. After that, Jet Howard driving. So it was like 6 or 7 possessions in a row where it was like, oh, it's Jet Howard time. And to his credit, like some of those ended up like in good shots. Yeah. But like I thought what made that run so fun and what made it so effective was it was like Jace, Jet, Jace, Jet, right. Jace, Jet, 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 Jet.
And Penda down assists. The stretch. Don't forget Noah Penda out there doing a little.
Noah was awesome. And look, again, Tyus 3 assists in the fourth quarter. Go back and watch those 3 assists because it's kind of generous to label those as assists because it was Jet and Jace making things happen off the bounce. Yeah. But absolutely. Like, people are not going to be happy if Jace Richardson doesn't see the floor on Tuesday, and I think it's justified for people to be upset at this point if he doesn't see the floor because he's just shown that he can do things that Tyus can't. Yeah, and he does things that this team really needs, and I think 18 games is more than enough time, more than fair to have given Tyus like a as much opportunity as you could give him.
Yeah. Jonathan, I think it's time. The week ahead. Let's look at it. I think first, while I'm pulling up the schedule and while you're probably doing the same, want to let folks know
not a lot of games.
Well, there's not, but there's also not going to be a lot of shows. We're going to take Thursday off because Thanksgiving. So, no Thursday show this week, obviously. We're going to enjoy the holiday with everyone, but just 2 games for the Magic this week. Both NBA Cup games to finish the group stage at Philly on Tuesday on NBC and Peacock, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then at
no FanDuel Sports Florida.
Correct, yep. And then at Detroit on Friday. That game, part of me hopes Detroit is still on the win streak before Friday because I want to snap it.
Cavs won 16 in a row last year. What happened in Game 17?
I remember it well. I want to snap that win streak. But anyway, 2 games this week, both Cup games. How are you feeling?
2-0. You're winning them both. You will then be 12-8. The weird back meter will have completely broken and shattered because we'll be far past being all the way back.
And if you do that, that means you're going to host an NBA Cup semifinal game. If you're 4-0, you're going to host one. So,
which will be the week of December 10th.
That's the one.
I believe looking at the schedule right now.
That's the one. Yep. Or I guess it's a quarterfinal, not semi. Semifinals are in Vegas. The 2 semifinals are in Vegas, and then the final. Yeah. So it's a quarterfinal you host. Yeah. Which, by the way, this is a tiny, unimportant side note, but they announced that starting next season, the quarterfinals and the semifinals will be at home arenas, and only the final will be in Vegas starting next season.
That's really sick.
This season is still the semifinals will be in Vegas. But anyway.
That's really sick.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. But yeah, okay.
The Magic host a quarterfinal game. I would love to go to it, but I don't know that we'll be able to make that happen.
We'll have to see.
Christmas is, December is a very, very busy month.
That it is. Okay.
I do want to say really quickly about this Detroit team. All the credit in the world. They've been awesome. They really have.
Yep.
But this is their win streak. Orlando when we were terrible.
Yep.
Dallas, Memphis, Utah, Brooklyn. A 3-point win over Philadelphia. A 2-point overtime win over Washington. The Bulls, the 76ers, the Pacers, the Trae Young, less Hawks, the Giannis, less Bucks. And then they play the Indiana Pacers on Monday, who, I mean, did they have 3 wins yet, the Pacers?
I don't think so.
And then they play Boston in Boston on Wednesday, and then they've got us on Friday.
Yeah. Okay, my week ahead. I want to say 2-0, but
just do it, bro.
All right, just because I really
for the vibes.
I want to, yeah, for the vibes and for winning the group, I'll say 2-0 as well. Although I just looked at the standings across the league. I didn't realize that there are still undefeated teams in all 3 East groups. So mathematically, it is possible. If there are 4-0 teams in every group, it's mathematically possible to not host a quarterfinal. I'm assuming it comes down to point differential. So there's a world when the Magic have to go on the road, but the Bucks still have to play twice. The Pistons, well, no, that's our group. Sorry. Bucks still have to play twice, and the Raptors still have a game left. Those are the 2 other undefeated group leaders in the East. So be rooting against them.
The Raptors' point differential is crazy.
53, yeah.
Yeah.
Bucks is only 16, so that's manageable.
Right.
But yeah,
you probably
53.
need like a 12 to 15 point win over the 76ers. Because then, I mean, like the Cavaliers, they're at plus 33 right now.
Well, they've got a loss. That's what I'm saying. It's only
no, I'm saying like, yeah. So, I mean, you're not going to have more than 3 undefeated teams. So there's going to be 1 wild card team. So if the Magic, I mean, the Heat, they're plus 46. So if they finish second in that group, the Bucks plus like the Magic, you've got to rack up some points against Philadelphia. Like if you run the table, it's one thing, but if you don't beat Detroit,
right,
it needs to be a close loss,
right,
and you would probably need to blow out the 76ers to have a chance at the wild card.
Yeah, or we could just beat both teams, and we'll do it that way.
That's where I'm at.
Let's
like,
do that. That'd be really fun.
The 2 teams that embarrass us the most this year, the 76ers and the Pistons. Yeah. And I believe the first time around you played them in that order. You played the 76ers and then you played the Pistons.
I throw Atlanta in there as another team that embarrassed us. Maybe even
that's
more,
true.
But
That is
yes,
true.
2 of the top ones, Little get-back games.
These are get-backs.
Yeah. Let's do
Hopefully Paolo Banchero has a get-back game as in like getting back into the lineup.
I like that.
Would love that for us.
Yeah.
But, win these 2 games, man, and like we are right freaking back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yep, absolutely.
So, okay, anything else before we go ahead and wrap this up? We've had like 75 people watching this live the entire time after we had, what was it, like 200 people in the post-game live right after the game.
On the second night of a back-to-back, too. You guys are just absolute maniacs. So
on a Sunday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really, really appreciate everybody. Okay, we are going to go ahead and wrap this one up. The next watch party isn't until like January, I believe. Yeah. I heard the turnout and the vibes at Boxy Park tonight were awesome. So many people were like, we need to come back here again. This venue's awesome. So definitely, hopefully we can make that happen at some point. Like Kevin said, no episode on Thursday, but there will be post-game lives Tuesday and Friday, and then there will be a new episode of the pod next Monday.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy freaking Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What are you thankful for, Kevin?
I am thankful for all the Magic Maniacs out there. This is just the best fan community, and I'm thankful that we have each other through the lows of maybe the early season, but now the highs of things, getting back in order, and I hope we can have a really special 2026. But yeah, I'm thankful for this amazing community for sure.
I'm thankful for you, Kevin.
Stop it.
I thought you were going to say me, but it's okay.
Well,
I'm included in the community.
You're a Magic Maniac. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
You are part of this community. So I am in
my feelings not hurt in the slightest. It's okay.
No, I'm thankful for you as well. It's very, very sweet.
I know. Yep. All right. That's enough of that. Okay.
Yeah, please.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's get some more wins here this week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Postgame Live and this episode of The Six Man Show. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!